You know, people make stuff so overly complicated for no reason. What's up, guys? Kai with TK Speed Shop. And today, we're working on the Trans Am. Yep, guys, I'm back. Okay, had to take a little break, had my little family vacation. Now I gotta kind of get my schedule back going. I should have been more responsible and had you some more videos lined up, but such is life. Anyway, today we are going to be doing the charging system and alternator wiring for our LS Swap Trans Am. Now, something that's very overcomplicated but simple at the same time. The way that I learned how to wire up my charging system and route my battery cables and starter cables and all that stuff is literally just going down to my local junkyard, surveying Silverados and seeing exactly how they're wired up. So you have two different kinds of setups on these Silverados that GM did. You have the early Vortec motors, the 99 to 06. Let's call that Gen 3 because they're associated with the Gen 3 LS block. Okay? Okay. So, you know, on those, they have like the little box hanging off the side over here by the alternator, and they got like the wire going out to the fuse box, and your battery hangs out over here somewhere. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So if you pay attention to that diagram, there is a wire that comes off the lug on the starter and it runs around the front of the block, and it in return goes up to that little box, and then it goes to the battery. If you pay attention, the lug on the alternator also goes to that lug on that box off the side of it. Basically, the starter wire goes to the battery, okay? And the alternator stud goes to the box, to the battery. Essentially, they're going to the same place. Now, that worked for GM for 99 to 06, okay? Now, from 07 to up, they started doing something different. They started putting mega fuses, all right, from the alternator to the battery. Now, they ran a double setup sometimes where they had them stacked on top of one another. And basically, you would run the alternator wire to the stud and then mega fuse, and then this side will go to the battery. That is to protect. It's like an inline fuse, okay? You know, on older cars how we have like the rubberized inline fuse wires? That's essentially what this is. You can pick these up on Amazon dirt cheap, or go down to your local pull yard and pluck these off of vehicles. And it is recommended that whatever mega fuse you run, it has to be at least 15% of a higher amperage than your alternator. So in our case, we got a 105 amp alternator and I got a 175 mega amp. Is that 15%? No, that's way more. But it's the first one I saw, and I know 15% of 105 is clearly not 175, so we're in the clear. Math. Anyway, today we're going to be wiring up this stuff and kind of break it down and make it simple. I've been talking for 4 minutes. Let's get into the video. Okay, so first things first, we need to find a good mounting spot for this. I'm thinking, since I got pre-existing holes up here on the firewall, I think I'm gonna mount it up on the firewall. But before I mount this on the firewall, you see this? The back side. That's exposed. Let's just say the off chance that it's Amazonian, eBay, Ying China goodness, and these studs back themselves out. The last thing you want to do is have your power grounding out. Yeah? Let me show you how we're going to fix that. That's right, ABS plastic, guys. You can get this stuff off Amazon dirt cheap. You can get 3 sheets of this stuff this size for like 20 bucks. This stuff's really good. you can cut it, or you can do an outline of what you want with like a razor blade, or like I like to do. I like to take paint pen and kind of figure out how I want to do something. I trace it, I cut it out, and now this will mount directly to that on the firewall, and I won't have to worry about it, you know, doing weird stuff. I just gotta drill some pilot holes. Let me set you up. Look at that. Look at that. Nice. Now we just peel off our little plastic. It's ready to go. It's always good when you can reuse stuff that's already kind of been there. So like this hole right here, yeah, we're just gonna reuse that. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of, yep. All right. That's basically gonna be kind of where we want it. And then this one, we need to line up and get it exactly where we want it as well. There we go. Now let's go ahead and boom, it's mounted just like that, and it's even. That's what I'm talking about, or it looks even. And just like that, ka-chow. Doesn't do any justice. Look guys, I promise you it's even. Anyway, now that we got that handled, I guess let's go ahead and make a wire from there to here. It's always good to have some good spare wire that you can kind of, you know, kind of get how you want it to go. So we need to figure out how we're gonna route this. So ideally, I want it to go down, around, and I want it to follow through here and go under. I wanted to clamp in from the under. So we're just gonna turn this like this. So we need about this much of wire. Okay, after that failed, I'm hoping that this is enough cable to go from my starter to my trunk. Should be, but as you can see, this is all pure copper. None of that clad crap in there. Good stuff, and it got some nice weight to it. Okay, so I'm gonna be using these. Got them off Amazon again. Straight copper. They're lugs. They're 4 2-gauge wire. These are 5/16 because I don't like a lot of slack. So you got to think about the diameter of the fuse holder and the diameter of the lug on the back of your alternator. That way you can keep this as small as possible. So now to script this wire, we only realistically need this much wire. You see what I'm doing? I'm taking my paint pen. I'm looking at this. You see where it kind of bows out right there? I'm taking that as a measurement. I know where to cut my wire at. I have loom. I want to heat shrink this into all of this together. So since I am here, I need to get the exact length of this. Go ahead, get your pre-cut for this side as well. Perfect. Now we can get our true measurement. I got a lot of this stuff, so I'm gonna cut it a little bit long, but you can kind of do what you will with this. I'm gonna cut long just because I'd rather have more than less. It's kind of like welding. All right. So we need to go ahead and get one of these ends crimped. We're gonna be running these reds up on this. I like to color code mine. So I have red for power. Even though I'm gonna be coating that in the black loom, I still need to be able to identify it as a power wire. I mean, it's common sense, but same time, I like to take into consideration that I may not own the vehicle forever. You see what I'm saying? So red means hot. Now look at that. Looks like a nice gentleman cable. Look at that. Yeah, now we getting fancy. I don't want you guys to sit there and watch me clamp all that stuff, but this is a nice, clean, braided, fancy wire, and all it took was some braided hose that I bought offline for 10 bucks. Got 25 foot of it. Got the correct size, you know, heat shrinkies for the battery cable, and bada bing, bada boo. We look good. So I'm finna go ahead and throw this up here and we're gonna get a look at how this looks. All right, let's see here. We're gonna let that hang out. I'm gonna take my cable. I'm gonna route my cable exactly how I want it. Maybe I could snake it. I could snake it all the way up underneath this intake actually, but I want to save that for more different kind of wire cuts. So we're just gonna snake it right here. See how that's tucked? And it runs up and it goes all the way to my lug right there. Could I make that look way cleaner? Probably, but I mean, it's nice. I might run that up underneath the intake, but what we do know is the length is appropriate. That means that if I want to tuck it underneath there and run it, I can, but that's pretty much how that works. So following that, we're gonna make another cable. We need to see if that cable's long enough to go all the way to the back now, and that will open up section 2 of this. Okie dokie. So when I was calculating all this stuff in my brain, I didn't calculate correctly. Now, I told you I was running the battery to the trunk. Well, I only bought 25 foot of this, okay? I was calculating running just the starter and not the alternator. So now we have to kind of change our direction. So instead of just doing that, I guess I'm gonna run the battery to the front and just let bygones be bygones. So I didn't want to run inner fenders on this at all, but I don't know how the battery mounting situation stuff goes with these vehicles. I know that the battery on these cars mount on this side, and on the Camaros they mount on this side, and I'm not 100% sure if all the core supports are the exact same. So yeah, I'm gonna go do some research real quick. If I can get away with mounting the battery tray without having to mount the inner fender and just kind of like have some kind of setup to where it's off of it and we brace it off the frame some way, somehow, then that's probably what I'm gonna do. If not, then we're just gonna go ahead and run this wire to the trunk, and that'll be for our alternator, and I won't have to demonstrate how to do that again because the starter to the battery is going to be the same way. They're both going to the same place. So I'll be right back. So after doing some research, yeah, I'm not going to run that battery to the back. Could I run the battery to the back? Absolutely. But that's just going to require us to spend more money. I'm not looking forward to that. So I went ahead and cooked this cable up. So we're just gonna run the battery to the front, okay? I don't know why I thought, okay, guys, I'm not 100% on everything. This is my first second gen F body. I did not know Camaros and Firebirds, the battery trays are interchangeable. Not only that, I did not know that when they use the GM, I can't say GM, when they use Chevrolet motors, from my knowledge in the forums, that the battery was mounted on the passenger side like the Camaro was. So everything's going to be perfectly fine. We're going to be able to put a core support up here, mount the battery up here, everything's cool. I went ahead and I made a wire for my starter. That's not pretty, but you're not going to see that. But what I will say is when you're terminating wires, if you're using one of these styles, always go with a 3/8 opening hole up front, and you can leave a 5/16 up on your box. Your starter bolt is also 5/16. So I'm just gonna fish this through the frame down here. Let me bring you in here. Maybe you can see what I'm seeing. I'm just gonna fish this right on up through there, where the old gas line used to go. It's swooping down back behind. It's coming all the way down. This is coming through my old fuel line area because I will not be rerunning the fuel line through here. I'm probably just gonna come up with another option for the fuel line. Heck, I might even run the fuel line back out, coming up that way into the backside. Haven't figured that out yet, but yeah, that's what we got now. So this will just bloop, power cable, good to go. Everything's organized, it's out the way, and if I want to, I can run additional sleeve and separate, well, I say separate, clean this up even more better. But that's terminated, that's good. It's not touching anything back here. That makes me happy. And with all that being said, the alternator and the starter is now wired up. So it's coming off the back, going up underneath the intake, into the box, bam, come right on back and out. Now, could I just, probably ran something like that, but mounted it up here or just whoop, whoop? Absolutely. But I don't know. That looks better to me. Having my wires terminated back here, it's a cleaner look, and it's just, I don't know. That makes me happy. Comment down below what you think, but that pretty much ties up the starter and the alternator, other than this guy. So let's go ahead and take our packaging. This probably could have been a 5-minute video if I just knew how to explain things properly. Alright. So, this is our ICT. One wire. It already has the resistor in it, as you can see. And it's easy as 1, 2, click up. Now this wire, we need to run to a 12-volt switch. What I like to do is I like to sit here and I like to route it right back along. So we're gonna route this wire right back along with this big chunky wire that we just ran and have it exit out towards the back. It's a new day. Lost my little GoPro stand, so we're having to go a little mobile. Well, I guess it's always mobile. Anyway, so after making our battery cables like we did, you guys already saw all that stuff, we get to move on to the final portion of the video, and the part that everyone seemed to ask the most questions about when they're wiring it up their 1-pin alternator wires. So I can only show you a Firebird version of this, okay? So you see this, let's go ahead and get our battery cables back on, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna test for this. Let's talk about way number 1 with everyone. Hey pretty girl, watch out. Let's talk about way number 1. We're gonna get down up in here. On the fuse box. Ooh, terrible. Goodness gracious. On the fuse box, we have a couple spots, okay? So, if you look on this fuse box, see that pink wire right there with that plug in it? Let's pull that out. Gotta pull that out. I'm gonna show you. Okay. This pink wire, and there's my brown wire, okay? This pink wire goes into the ignition terminal. Now, you can test this with a meter. I think I got you in a advantageous spot. I'm gonna put this up here. Boom. 12.4. One more time. .4. Okay. There you go. So you can run that wire technically right there, which is where let me just show you guys. You can run that wire, which is right here. All right, so my brown wire for my 1-wire alternator is ran all the way inside to right here, which is a splitter, a plug. Okay, now let's just say you don't want to run it inside the fuse box. Don't worry, there's another place that you can run this wire. On these cars, there is a factory alternator wire. The alternator wire has these two wires going to it. It's going to be a red and black and a brown one, okay? Let's focus on this brown wire. Originally from the factory, the alternator set up here, you had the one lug coming off the back, and then you had the plug with the two wires coming out of it, okay? Let me set you right here. I'm gonna take this same multimeter. I'm just gonna shove it down in there. Okay. Right now, I can put this hot lead on this, and I can put this on the ground, and nothing happens. Now, if I go in here and I put it on the run position, and we repeat this exact same process again. I take it, this brown wire, and I ground it. What do you see? That's right, you see 12 volts. That's only when it's switched. So, those are the two places that you could run that wire. I don't know why that's not really explained or shown on the YouTube, but again, you can get your source from the box, which is the fuse box inside. A lot of people opt to do that one, or if you still have the factory harness and you retain the factory harness and all the wires, for the second gens, I can't attest to anything else. For the second gens, you have the red and black and the brown wire. Now, on factory harnesses, that red and black and that brown wire, I believe one's a field wire and one's a sensing wire. I believe the brown is the sensing wire. That's the one you need. I'm pretty sure that they trade places at some point. I was doing some research on the forums, and you got some people that says the red wire with the black tracer on it is the sensing wire. You got some people saying the brown one is the sensing wire. Just put a meter to it, switch it, you'll find out which one's which. But that's it. That's it, guys. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a video. I'm tired. My head hurts. There's not a lot of information wiring these second gen cars online. So, whatever. Whatever. But we do got an alternator, a wiring charge system, and all that stuff officially hooked up. So we got all that stuff bumped together. Off camera, guys, I went ahead and I hooked up the steering wheel. And not only that, we went got our factory snowflakes polished. So that's a thing. So now we gotta stick some 255 60-15s in all four corners. I like to run my vehicles square. Ask the Monte Carlo, it has 275 all the way around. Ask the 77, it has 99. It has 275 all the way around. Same with the Hippo. The Dodge truck, 235 70-15s. All the way around. We like to run square stuff. I like to actually rotate my tires, and I don't like having two different kind of things go on. So that's just me. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video, guys. I'm sorry it took so freaking long to get you guys a video going. Like I said, we went on vacation. I came back, had to dive straight back into work, get caught up, and it's been one thing after another. Hopefully in the next video, we'll have the 77 actually cranking by key instead of me applying power to the box directly to the battery. I want to wire all that stuff up, that way we can go ahead and crank it and run it and kill it with the key. And we might go ahead and start working on the fuel system. If you guys have not realized by now, this is a different carburetor. that mighty demon that we had, I have him sitting to the side. He was a very leaky boy, and we're just gonna have to spend the day fooling with him. We're gonna build this carburetor as a blow-through application, so we're gonna come back to this. We're just gonna run that 750 that I got on it now, and it's naturally aspirated. I think I said that correct. Trim, and who knows, stuff happens, but I'm rambling. I love you guys. It's hot. Drink plenty of water, and I'll see you in the next video. You know, you came a long way since I just decided to just say screw it and just do what I want and start working on you how, you know, I want. And now look at us. We're almost there. We're almost there.